On last week's episode, the teams not only had to compete against each other, they also had to battle the elements, as the persistent rainfall served as an additional challenge for both teams. 2 members from each team were selected to hit the road, get to their part sponsors, and return with the necessary parts needed to complete the build. Despite the rain, both teams were able to complete the challenge, with Team JA Tuner being the victors. This is their first win of the competition. In pit stop, NAS stopped by Fidelity Motors and took the 2016 Nissan X-Trail for a test drive. On the rush track, Nigel and Shamar had their face-off, with Nigel claiming the victory, with a time of 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Last week we had a little bit of rain, some showers of blessings, you know? But that didn't stop the teams from going out there and getting their parts, coming back here to the workstation and putting in some serious work on their machines. Team Jamaica Tuna won that challenge, making it their first victory, and are now officially back in the race for the grand prize of $1 million. Let's see what the teams have planned for us this week.
So this is our pole and then our pole. Let's lift up and take it down. So I'll just bust around the side, the right road. And then we'll weld them well and everything for the chassis.
Take out that. Other than that, the drive-train and the center of the steering.
Oh, the floor and the steering.
Floor on the back.
And lift up in the car.
That's it. It's not the door on the chassis.
Okay. It look like it's a bag of things that go on. Both fireman and the so I could see everybody. See, what go on so now? There, man. Look like you cut the car in few. So
what I'm doing here now is cutting the body from the chassis.
Yeah.
In order to lift it up off the chassis and replace the next body on it.
Yeah.
Right. So what happened now? The person who did it before welded the body and the chassis all in one.
Mm-hmm.
And normally it's supposed to be bolted down. You just pull the bolts and lift it up.
So it's a second hand work you do that.
Yeah, it wasn't done properly.
My students are learning to find the right formula. That's what my bank already gives me, with Saturday banking, late opening hours, and an extra special credit card rewards program that fits in with my needs.
If you're like me, you want a bank that has the perfect formula for you.
In my job, I have to pay attention to detail, and my bank does that too, with personalized alerts and notifications, updating me on transfers and balance thresholds, with convenient mobile and online banking. That's security for me and saves time for other important things.
If you're like me, you need a bank that's big on details.
If you're like me,
Or me,
you bank with FGB.
So what do you say I do then up on the city?
you know, so I remove the rotten spot and replace the sheet metal.
Yeah, because it's a look well rotten, you know?
Yeah, man, so I remove the rotten metal and replace the sheet.
So That almost basically brand new then.
Yeah, man, when it come out of brand new.
Let's pull off the suspension. You can do the extended strut tops. So you can deal with the front and deal with the back.
Yeah, we need to get a more comfortable ride, you know?
Yeah.
Indeed.
So you need the front for the back. I'm going to use it for the first one and pull it down. Impact when it's dead in the water.
Huh?
Pull the lower shot, pull them already.
Yeah, yeah.
I was going to loosen up the toe arm them, because we might have to replace those anyway. So we have to go pull the toe arm. Are you still around the front?
Yeah, man, everything good around the front.
Take it back up. Take it back up. Get a new controller and push it.
Yeah, we got a new controller. This?
Yeah, that's it, just clean one.
Okay, Sean.
Hot springs. Look at that. Ah, boy.
Properly.
You see? Shots dead.
Dead.
Yeah, man. Dead right. Can't work back with that. Alright, so this is what we need. So what we're actually going to do here, when you lower a car, it actually loses the full stroke of the shock. So what we're going to do, we're going to cut this piece off and add on an extension and then weld it back on. So that way when we lower the vehicle, the shock still has its full stroke potential. So that's why we need these. So we take these and go get them cut and mark, and the back ones as well.
Hi, and welcome to another informative and exciting segment of Pit Stop. I'm your girl, Nas. Today we're at MSC McKay Limited. We'll be speaking to David McKay. Hi, David.
Hi, Nas. How are you?
I'm great, thank you. He'll be giving us tips on how to purchase a vehicle. So, David, could you tell me a little bit about MSC McKay?
Okay, MSC has been around from 1983.
Oh, wow.
It was actually started as a security company, and then we changed over to valuation and damage inspections in 1986. So since then, we have been doing valuations for insurance companies, for banks, for people selling vehicles, and for people purchasing vehicles.
So tell me the first thing I should do if I'm interested in buying a vehicle.
Okay, well, I would recommend that anybody gets it looked at by a mechanic for one, to make sure that it's mechanically sound.
Yes.
And get it inspected by a valuator.
Okay.
The valuator will be able to confirm several things for you. They'll be able to tell you if the year model is correct. You don't want to be buying a 2005 car only to hear it's a 2002,
Yeah.
which happens very regularly in Jamaica. And you want us to also look to see if there's any evidence of repairs. A lot of vehicles are repaired and sold afterwards. The airbags might have been deployed in an accident.
Yeah.
They cut out the airbags,
Yeah.
repair it, and there's no airbag again if you have another accident.
Wow.
And there are several things that we look at. We look at to see if the engine number corresponds with the registration papers, the chassis number is correct.
Yes.
Several things. Okay, so what we've done here is open the bonnet of the vehicle so we can inspect the interior of the engine bay and look for any signs of any collision damage. Now, one of the easiest ways to pick up collision damage in the engine bay is looking at the seam sealer, which is this strip of rubbery looking material. What it actually does is when the panels are fitted together at the factory, they run this strip here to finish it off and to seal any gaps that may be in the openings. Now, when you have a damage, a collision damage, what happens is that you will see that this has been disturbed, and usually when it's put back, it looks nowhere near as neat as it does from the factory. Now, other things you look for is chassis damage, which you can do by looking down in the engine bay at the chassis rails, in this case, or the chassis frame itself, and look for any evidence of any repairs, any welding marks, any distortions in the chassis, which will show you that it has been in a frontal impact. Now, there's other things to look for. You can look at the headlights. The headlights for the factory vehicle usually have a standard name. Now, when the aftermarket light is fitted, it will have a different name from the factory named headlamp. So you will know when it's no longer the factory headlamp, and that's an indication that something has been done to the front of the vehicle, usually collision repairs. The same with the parts like the grille and so. Behind it, you can look and you usually see the name of the manufacturer for that particular part, and you can tell whether it's an aftermarket part or it's the genuine Toyota part in this case. You look at the underside of the bonnet. What it will show you, if you see any ripples, any evidence of welding, any refinishing, it will show you that some repairs has been done to the vehicle. Now, that follows through to the panels on the vehicle as well. Now, you'll see a lot of people when they're looking at vehicle, they'll walk around and they knock the panels. And what they're really looking for is a sound. A panel that is undamaged will give you that type of sound, but one that is damaged gives a more hollow sound when you knock it, and that's because it has body fill on it. Now, that is not really the best way to look for it. What we also look for is imperfections. We look at from angles, we look at the vehicle, and what you will see if it's not repaired properly is ripples in the panel going down, and you look for paint work, you look for refinishing, you look for evidence of overspray, which is where you may see a little line on the bonnet, on the headlamp, you know, different places along the fender where they've painted the vehicle but haven't cleaned it up properly. That will give you an idea that some amount of repairs was done there.
At Alden's Auto Services Limited, the customer satisfaction is our priority. We're an approved garage by the National Contracts Commission. We service large and small government and private companies. We offer mechanical repairs, diesel and petrol engine overhaul, electrical repairs, collision repairs, and collision estimates, complimentary wash and vacuum with each service, and pick up and drop off in the corporate area. Alden's Auto Services Limited, 24 Beechwood Avenue, telephone 929-0925.
Bad shocks giving you a rough ride? Come to Birds for genuine KYB shock absorbers. Buy a full set and our well-trained technicians will fit them for free. Located at 6 to 10 Camp Road, Kingston 4 and shops 23 and 24 Malines Plaza, 57 Malines Road. Remember, it hurts if you don't check Birds.
Life calls. Your hopes and dreams stretch out before you. So much to do, so much of life to enjoy, so many places to go.
Because you're ready to go places and live your dreams. Move up higher, you're ready for success. Oh, life calls. Answer now with the strength of First Heritage.
Because you're ready, start now. Start here.
First Heritage Cooperative Credit Union. The strength to do more.
Okay, so what we're looking at now is a vehicle that actually shows signs of collision repairs. Now, if you look at the same spot or similar spot to where we're looking at in the previous vehicle, you will see where the seam sealer here, where the side shield is joined, has been disturbed. So it's no longer original, and you can pick that up right away. And when you look down at the chassis, you will see that there was also some repairs on the chassis leg itself. Now, this is a dead giveaway that the vehicle was involved in a frontal collision, and it shows this is one of the things that you need to look for, or if you're not sure what to look for, you have somebody who's experienced, look for it to determine how badly it was damaged and how well it was repaired, which is very important. Because you can have a badly damaged vehicle that if it's repaired properly, it can be returned to where it was before. Structurally, it can retain the structural integrity of the vehicle, but it really depends on how well this job is done. So what we're looking at here is a left-hand drive vehicle. Now, what we know as the chassis number on a vehicle is actually more referring to a Japanese domestic vehicle, which has a short number. On left-hand drive vehicles, they have a 17 character, what they call the VIN, which is a vehicle identification number, and it's located in left-hand drive vehicles. It's located on the dashboard to the left, in front of the steering wheel, and it's also located on left B pillar. Now, this 17 character VIN decodes everything about the vehicle. What it does is shows you what year it is. The 10th digit will show you the year, and it will also tell you what the vehicle comes equipped with. It will show you what the engine size of the vehicle is, whether it's a 2 or 4-wheel drive, many different things about the vehicle itself, and where it was made actually, what plant it was made in, and all the history of the vehicle in a sense. Now, the right-hand drive vehicles have a shorter, what we call a chassis number, because it doesn't identify everything about the vehicle. What it will tell you is, like in the case of a Corolla, it might be an AE110, it tells you what model it is, what style it is from there. So if you're ordering parts and you tell somebody you have an AE110 Corolla, they'll know what style fender will fit it or what style light will fit it. And the rest of the numbers is essentially just a sequential number, a sequential number from the factory to show when it was manufactured, which is what we use basically to determine when these vehicles were made. So it's important that you look at the chassis number, you get somebody to check to see that it matches the vehicle and to make sure that it hasn't been altered with or tampered with in any way.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Rush.
We have 12 racers gearing up for their chance at the $50,000 Rush jackpot. This week's matchup is between Llewellyn Benjamin and Peter Ray. First up, Llewellyn.
From J.A. Tuner, right?
Yes.
How was the race?
Wow, the race was nerve-wracking. Going up with some cars out of my class, but it was definitely fun, and that's all it was for me.
Tell me quick about your ride.
Oh, my car is a Honda Integra DC5, and it has a few mods, but it's mostly stock. But it's my work in progress, as you can see.
Now it's Peter's turn.
Mr. Zoom Zoom Ray. Okay, so Peter, quickly tell me about this car.
Well, it's basically a 1993 Mini. Started life as a 1956 car when it first produced. So it's 1300 fuel injected with air conditioning. Not many of them come with that. Doesn't have the straight line power like the bigger turbo cars, so it handles like a dream. I nearly rolled it once. I went in the corner a bit too hard, and it was quite hot because I wound the windows up to get the aerodynamic flow to try and stay with these turbocharged cars.
Okay.
But yeah, it was great fun.
Peter Ray is this week's winner with a time of 2 minutes and 43 seconds and will advance to the next round of competition.
It's your girl Nas. I'll catch you next time on Rush.
Use up this now, because it's on. Can I use up the side? Man, I say y'all load Chang, man. Deal no, man. Yeah, Chang, man. Y'all load can't lift it down. How will it up, sir? See that, man? Come on, come on, right then. Just send him inside and make him on the sleep. Yeah. Isn't it? Man, smash it. Hold on, over this here. Fuck like that, so send him on the front. Four of it. Two for it. And two over this. Good on. Down. Take them on, bro. And do it again, take them on. Officially our buggy. Look at it. This is the carcass of the buggy. Do the suspension challenge now. Yeah. No. Okay, all the whole of this on power washing, you see? You can do this now. Power washing. You don't want sunglass. Hey, for real, put a sunglass. Why really? That's what you want. Really stable. My God. Cut off the whole of this man them gone. The whole of this gone. That's supposed to come so. They've changed it already? And go so. No, they've not changed it. When they patch over the floor, they just patch everything in a one. Oh. So they cut out the whole of that section like that. See? See? And the bulkhead come round. Down the whole of that. I use what that again. The whole of this have to go prepare back first. You know why they mean central enough? No, but the other thing now, we're going back, so you have to go well back. Well back, so now you have to go well back, so we can take out this. Well back. Just is straight. Pass it. Spanish town we have. That's the thing there. Alright. Garden bed, yeah. You hear that? Alright, brother. Start it now. Yo, go on, brother. I go where I go to, do it. Alright. Alright, no more. Yeah, my alone can't cut that one. Love it. Right, go, Bobby. Right, go.
So, put it behind this. Yeah, put it across. Yeah. Right now, go down with it. I don't like them. I like them.
Just use them catch up to see me.
What? Molly. You guys probably hearing all that noise around there. That's the sound of the compressor and Matthew using the die grinder. You know, it looks to me as if he's doing a little port and polishing on the Honda Civic EG's engine.
Port and polish, what you're doing is you have a, think of it as a water pipe, right? Yeah. When the water pipe gets corroded inside, the water can't flow properly, right? So it slows down the water flowing into your house. Porting is the exact same. So what you're doing is, when they manufacture this, you know, they cast this, right? Now in casting it, there's casting imperfections in there, like where the two casts meet. Yeah. So you see like a line, and then there's no smooth transitions. So what happens, you have like a jagged corner, right? Or the corner is too sharp, so the air hits and fumbles around inside. So when you're actually porting it now, what you're doing is smoothing all that out. Now skimming the head is taking off material off the top of the head. Right. Yeah. And what that does is it increases the increases the combustion, the size of the combustion chamber, therefore increasing the compression. Yeah. Right. But it also does something. It lowers the height of the head to the depth, to the block. Yeah. So when the time, let's say your cam gear is here and your crankshaft is here, when you skim it, you're reducing that size. Therefore, your timing is going to be out. So you have to get what is called an adjustable cam gear in order to set back timing properly. No problem, no problem. You can't get the swools on.
Ready, let's go, man. Let's go. All right, out to Maxi. Yeah. And go down. Take time and go down. Blue gate. Yeah, journey and go. Blue gate. Big choose and refuse. Halfway we should have gone. No, I can't go.
Like and follow us on Instagram and Facebook at TestDriveJA and tweet us at TestDriveShowJA. Join us next week for more action on Test Drive. Test Drive is brought to you by